All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, August 21st. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live in studio. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. We're thrown slightly because he's back. We got Podcast Jesus is back on the show for this huge episode. So, I mean, let's get right to it. Kirk Minihane, thank you for being on the BO Boys once again.
Guys, there's no bigger fan than me. It's great to be here. It's great to be here with you, Pat, and with Clayton. Clayton's a fellow American. We stayed in the country all summer. I mean, we're really, we're not the kind of guys, we're not going to see movies and these little independent things. And then when we come back to America, we're not like talking to old women after seeing, I don't know, you have a very bizarre summer. I don't even know where to begin with this.
I'm talking to Parisians on bicycles in Paris. I'm talking to old ladies after Oppenheimer.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, we're Sound of Freedom guys, USA. So, but I'm always thrilled to be here.
So Clayton officially stating it on this episode, he is a Sound of Freedom guy. So I heard so there you go. It's official.
I'm salt of the earth. What can I say?
Kirk, let's go over your summer a little bit. We're going to get to Blue Beetle. We're going to get to Strays, this huge box office weekend, but we want to check in with you because, since the last time you were on the show, we've gained a lot of listeners here on the BO Boys. So we're happy now to share those listeners with you. Everyone, check out the Kirk Minihane show.
Thank you very much. I'll take anything I can get. I've seen a lot of Minifans out there tweet that they love your show, which is great because, like I said, I found it randomly. I think I said this last time. I was searching. I heard Mendelsohn on the Ringer one, and I was like, oh, it's box office. And like I think I'm repeating an old story. And
but it's a great story. People love it.
Well, one of the classics of all time. Should be adapted to a film.
Right.
But I'm not kidding when I say this is my favorite. When you ask me to come on, I'll always say yes. But I never listen to myself. So I can't listen to the BO Boys till like Thursday or Friday this week. I'm fucked. So
it's a problem we have too, honestly, because we would love this show if we weren't the show. So it is a sad thing when your favorite show is you.
It's a burden of genius for you guys. I understand that. I listened to the one with the horror movie guy last time.
Brett from the New Flesh.
Yeah, and then the one before, the guy who talked the entire time. I listened to that one too. Like I never miss an episode. I never. Yeah. If you're listening right now, if you're a Minifan listening for the first time, you subscribe to the show. You leave it a 5-star review. You find them on YouTube. You find them on TikTok. You fucking start subscribing and leave. Those, I don't know why they matter, but leave a 5-star review for these guys.
Yes.
Get on it, the fans. Get on it.
It's the most important thing in modern life is leaving reviews, ringing that bell.
No question. Ring that bell. Ring it.
So, you were talking about how I'm out there flaunting around the world, but you did a live show this summer. You did a few live shows, but you just did one this is Salt of the Earth, Plymouth, Massachusetts. How did that go, Kirk?
We had some audio. We had some sound issues. It was like the beginning of was it the Spider-Man movie that the beginning of the movie, the audio was so bad they actually put out new did you see that story earlier this summer?
No.
Spider-Man cartoon at the beginning, the sound was so bad they actually sent out new prints. So we had some audio issues, but we had a couple of thousand people, big crowd, big night. Yeah, it was good. We'll have some more live shows. No, it's been a good summer. It's been a busy summer. I've been traveling a lot for Barstool. I'll be in Chicago in a few months. I'll be in New York again. We have a show at the House of Blues in Boston this week. So we're staying busy, but no, everything is good here. It's been a good summer.
That's great, Kirk. And you had the technical issues. I heard your last episode. You're looking for a new staff member, open application process. We love that.
Yep.
We've got our intern division is just growing. We've got multiple interns. Interns are reporting to other interns.
Right.
And any advice for that? And you've got a big organization. The BO Boys organization is growing. We've been very nice to Wannabe intern Christopher. He's doing a great job. I think he's someone for you to keep an eye on for down the road.
Yep, I heard his episode. Yeah.
The organization is growing. What advice do you as Podcast Jesus have for a growing organization, how we need to sort of handle these new incoming interns? Because honestly, we do need a bit of a whipping boy on the show. And do you have advice for that?
Yeah, it is the ultimate. I deal with this dilemma right now. The show I recorded about an hour ago, I deal with this still all the time. You want to hire somebody who's competent. There's nothing worse for content than a competent, nice person. So that's the balance. Is you get an idiot who screws it up. You're mad because it's screwed up, but yet the content of the show will be better because you hired this idiot. It's the ultimate. So if you could somehow get a balance, get somebody who can dot the I's and cross the T's behind the scenes, never have them be content, and then have two idiots sort of the other part of it is the other two interns. It's magic. That'd be my get one person who's smart and get two people who are stupid. That's the ultimate tonic, I think.
Yeah. So we've got wannabe intern Christopher, who's very smart. So
very smart.
Yeah, we may need a complete idiot then as our next intern.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's great advice. So now, before we get into Clayton, he's dying to do this plow for the weekend. But before we get into that, since you're here, since the last time you were on, Barbenheimer happened. You know, the Barbie's going to end up being the biggest movie of the year. It's going to pass Super Mario Brothers. Oppenheimer is also a juggernaut. Have you seen these films? What is the Barstool? What are the Stoolies think of Barbenheimer? How was Barbenheimer weekend at Barstool?
Well, Barbie was a big divisive movie among the Stoolies. A couple of female Barstool employees, Kelly Keegs is one of them, another one, thought this was the greatest movie ever made.
Okay.
And some of the older guys my age were like, not so great. And some of the women, like, you're not allowed to not like Barbie. That it's become that thing, which I respect. My take on Barbie was I thought it was like okay. I thought it was an okay comedy. I thought Gosling was actually really funny in it.
Yep.
You know, it didn't land for me like it landed for everybody else, but I don't think it's supposed to.
Right.
I think Oppenheimer is one of the I think I said it's one of the 5 best movies this century. So
wow.
It absolutely landed I have Zodiac and There Will Be Blood ahead of it. So that's it. I think it's just like an unbelievable. I can't believe you pulled it off. Like I'm still stunned. And I saw today it's the 5th highest grossing IMAX movie in history. I think it's Avatar, 2 Avengers movies, and The Force Awakens, and friggin' Oppenheimer, a 3-hour movie about. And the truth is, you don't even really need to see it in IMAX. Like the bomb is not that big a deal in the movie to me.
The bomb. Yeah, because it's only the test. It's so short. It's mostly guys talking in rooms, but you do like to see them really tall. That is nice.
That is true, and it sounds great.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Barbie thing at Barstool for a week, it was men versus women. It was wild. I mean, women were crying defending Barbie.
Wow,
men were mocking it. That America Ferrera speech is, to me, like, that's kind of what I don't like about it. I thought it was a little too on the nose at times.
Okay.
But like, I can't pretend that I was offended by it or hated it. Like,
no, of course not.
I didn't get the Noah Baumbach sense of it all. Like, I didn't get the sense that the guy who made The Squid and the Whale wrote that movie at all. But but it was fine.
There was a joke about the band Pavement in there, so I feel like if he got anything in there, he got that line in for sure.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and you know what? It's great content. You said it was divisive at Barstool, but that's what you want at Barstool. So a Barbie movie is just, I mean, that must have given you guys hours and hours of just yelling at each other, which is what you want.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, for sure. And my other takeaway from last time I was on was I told you guys that all this Tom Cruise stuff was going to cost Mission Impossible at the box office. And right. It cost Tom Cruise selling his soul, whoring his soul for these IMAX screens. Cost Mission, which was a fine movie. Absolutely cost it. But yeah. I mean, the thing is, he didn't endorse Strays. No,
and that I don't think Tom Cruise endorsement would have helped Strays any more than helped Indiana Jones. But I think it's time to get into it. You know, Clayton right now, for those on YouTube, he's having camera issues, but he could hear us. He could speak.
Okay.
So don't worry, Kirk. You've got both the BO boys right here in your ears. So Clayton, could you give us a plow for the box office weekend of Friday, August 18th?
Yes. So number 1, we have Blue Beetle made $25.4 million in its first weekend. Number 2, Barbie made $21.5 million, down 36%. It lost 175 theaters. It is now at $567.1 million. Number 3, Oppenheimer made $10.6 million, down 44%. It lost 440 theaters. It's at $285.2 million in its third weekend. Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem made $8.4 million, down 45%. It lost 946 theaters. It's at $88.1 million in its what is it? Oh, sorry. Third weekend. Number 5, Strays made $8.3 million in its first weekend. It is at $8.3 million, and that is not good.
So we're gonna get into the number 1, which is Blue Beetle, but I think the first thing we have to get into with Kirk, because the reason we wanted you on this particular episode, Kirk, was because of Strays. You know, you were on back in June, and at that point, Strays had just moved from June to August, but we all were on board with Strays is going to be the breakout comedy hit. You know, you were on the No Hard Feelings episode about the J-Law movie, and that did okay, kind of underperform, but it did fine. But we thought Strays was going to be the big comedy one. You had insider info. Harry Minihane had loved the trailer, went bananas for it. So let's start off with, did Harry Minihane end up seeing this movie this weekend? I know you know, don't want to ask a personal question here, but did Harry see this movie?
No, it's fine. So this is exactly what I was going to say. I remember going on here talking about Harry. Strays comes out this. It's amazing how the world works. Wednesday, Thursday this week, I said to Harry, "Hey, that movie Strays coming out this weekend. You want to see it?" Nah, I don't really want to see it. Like, I don't know what happens, but like collectively, everybody just bailed on it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's a wild thing, but like, and you know what? I do think, I mean, it's wild. Ninja Turtles beat it this weekend, and it's like, I think Ninja Turtles kind of ran it over. In some ways. And I just think, like, I heard you guys talk about this. I think it was last week or the week before. There was zero. And I understand there's a strike going on, but I'm just talking advertising. Zero promotion the last few weeks. It was a super soft advertising push heading into it this week. You wouldn't have known it was coming out.
Yeah, I mean, that is damning right there. That you asked Harry, "Do you want to see it?" and he had no interest. Did he see a different movie? Did he just not see a film this weekend? Just didn't
care. He's a huge horror guy, even though we saw Insidious a few weeks ago. And we still have not seen
Talk to Me.
Talk to Me yet. We haven't seen that. That's what we're gonna go see.
Okay.
Wound up not seeing it, but he even said that he's 11 years old, and you know there's 50 million things going on. But he said, "What is that again?" That to me is the obituary for Strays. What is that again? And if it was released in June, we would have seen it opening weekend.
That's the big one. I mean, and Clayton, if you want to jump in and talk on this, on the last episode with David Thompson of The Direct, we talked about how it seemed like the big mistake was moving this at all from June to August. That in June, people were ready. People saw the trailers. Clayton mentioned that those trailers were all over the NBA playoffs in May and early June. And then 2 months later, and you got Harry Minihane saying, "What is that? I don't remember what that is."
It's one of those things where, you know, you're a running back and you're looking for an opening, and then there's a few there, and then you wait too long, and all of a sudden you're on your butt and you're sacked for a loss, you know, or tackled for a loss. I'm trying to do the sports thing, as you can tell.
Right.
But you're tackled for a loss, and that's what happened here, is that this should have come out when it was at its highest peak of just like cultural knowledge, or like people understanding that it was coming out. And I felt it myself, even as a box office pundit. I thought this had already come out, and then I was like, okay, that's right, August. It's coming out in August. But it just, the run up to this was too long for a funny dog movie.
Right. Yeah, they lost all that momentum, and you know, they kind of bet on in June moving out to August, because at that point there was the writer's strike, so there's no late night talk shows. And they figured, all right, by August, this will be settled, and you can have Will Ferrell go on the late night shows, Jamie Foxx go on the late night shows, sit down with Johnny, sit down with Dave, promote the movie. And they, in a worse situation where now there's the SAG strike and the actors couldn't promote this at all. I mean, Kirk, do you think that Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx being able to promote would have, with Harry Minihane, not to put it on him, but he's a representative of America. That kid, I think
more
America.
Harry, if it had been more Mr. Beast maybe than Will Ferrell, maybe it's a different or Logan Paul, as you want to say. But also we don't know if Jamie Foxx is alive or not, right? I mean, isn't there like 14 Jamie Foxxes? I mean, that's also a factor. Who knows?
It doesn't help.
But I just think, I just feel like when it got released, to Clayton's point, I think that was sort of, didn't this come out 3 weeks ago? And it just felt like it got swallowed by 5 or 6 other movies, and it just felt limp. Like, I don't even know put it this way, like I have no idea what the critical reaction was to it. Even was it awful? I didn't even read like a review. I have no idea.
Yeah, it seemed middling. So I think the critical reaction in June wouldn't have been what helped it, but there was that moment where people were laughing at the trailer and
It was funny. Yeah,
knew it existed, which in August they don't know it exists right now. And you didn't have the situation where Harry responds to Mr. Beast, but Will Ferrell's not allowed to do a stunt with Mr. Beast right now.
that's true.
Right. And if you had Will Ferrell and Mr. Beast and the dog from Strays is peeing on Will Ferrell and Mr. Beast is throwing baloney at him, I don't know what Mr. Beast does, but you figure
nor do I. But I mean, why couldn't they have more commercials though? Why is it on YouTube? And when I'm watching them on YouTube, why am I not seeing a commercial for Strays last week?
Yeah. Well,
did they just know they had a stiff on their hands? I don't know.
It's one of those things where they could have seen the tracking and been like, are we going to throw good money after bad here? And so talking about Will Ferrell and hanging with dogs and doing promotion, apparently not San Diego, but another Comic-Con. Did he do Comic-Con? He wasn't there for Comic-Con, was he, Pat?
No, by Comic-Con, there were no actors allowed.
So a previous con, I guess, one of the cons, maybe it was CinemaCon, Will Ferrell did a funny bit with a dog to promote this movie. But that was, again, a long time ago. So people were like, oh, Will Ferrell did that thing with that dog. That was like 3 months ago. Right. So you got to do the thing with the dog now. And I know he can't because of the strikes and things like that. But still, you should have released it right after he did the funny thing with the dog that everybody liked.
Right. Yeah. And they couldn't do anything with these. I mean, the dogs are non-union, but the dogs are kind of useless in on late night shows or on internet shows or on Kirk Minihane show. Mm-hmm. Will Ferrell, if it wasn't for the strike, could have went on the Kirk Minihane show last week, told everyone about Strays, but you're not having this dog on.
No, I can't. I don't work with dogs or with kids. That's the oldest rule in the book. You just don't do it. It doesn't work.
You're a professional.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Tomato meter, I know, listen, we're not critics and, the tomatoes can do what they do. 55%. So, not terrible, but not great. And then audience score 73%. So not over the moon for the audience score either. Yeah.
I saw this film today and I tried to go see a showing at one theater that I thought that's where I was going to see it. And that theater canceled morning up both of its showings because both of them had sold 0 tickets.
Is that true? 0?
0 tickets. The movie theater in Cobble Hill on Court Street in Brooklyn, 0 tickets sold for 2 showings in the afternoon. Had to take my business to the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn. There was about 10 of us in there in a giant auditorium. Jesus. And you had a waiter going around serving food to 10 people. It was sad. Pathetic for everyone. Yeah. And the people there liked it. We all liked it. I sat next to someone who really liked it and seemed shocked by everything in a pleasant way. But I don't know if he knew it was going to be an R-rated talking dog movie, because when they started cursing, he was like, whoa. But everyone seemed to like it, but it's a comedy. And when you see a comedy with 10 people, that's not going to create a buzz. No one's coming out of there having such a great experience that they're going to really talk about how you have to go see it, because it does feel sad to be in that situation.
Yeah. I had the same experience with no hard feelings. It was like 8 people in the theater and it was funny. But it was, it just sucks the life out of it. It's a weird experience. Yeah.
When you're in a theater with 8 people and that beach scene happens, are people laughing, or are people starting to see they're in a room with only 8 people? It starts to feel like a, RAP, but a Pee Wee Herman situation more than a big comedy.
Right. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. It was sort of, I think everybody collectively thought, oh, is that, everyone's doing the same thing. Oh, is that actually her? Oh, that is actually her. We sort of all had that same moment. Yeah. And I give her credit. I mean, she stepped up. She definitely went for it. But yeah, I think that's sort of when I was on last time, we were talking about comedies and, will comedies come back? I mean, is Barbie a comedy? I mean, I guess it is, but
it's a comedy plus,
right.
That's the thing. Yeah. So comedies, pure comedies, which I would say Strays was, and Pat would say it's comedy plus dogs, but there's been dogs in comedies before.
Oh, I would say Strays is a comedy. Yeah. You're going because it's a comedy.
Will Ferrell and
so it's a straight up comedy, and it's that and the art house have not come back from COVID. And like I said in the previous episode, comedies have been struggling since pre-COVID. since, 2017, 2018, 2019.
Yeah. Joyride too. Yeah. People are just not, they're just not going.
Yeah.
We talk about, that is I think now you can say that's essentially dead in the movie. People are just, because that's going to wind up. I have no idea where Strays is going to wind up, but let's say it winds up on Netflix. Maybe number one on Netflix for like 4 days. I have no idea what that means. Like, I don't know what that means, but that's what, and they'll say that's a hit, and they'll say 226 million people watched it or something. And it's probably bullshit, but that's going to be what happens.
So Strays will be landing on the cock.
Oh,
yeah. The cock will be taking some strays because it is a Universal movie.
I assume you guys have both canceled your Peacocks because of this war, right? That you're in right now, or no?
We're letting the lawyers handle it right now, Kirk. And I know, you've had different situations with different
I've been in front of the Massachusetts Supreme Court. Yeah, I have actually. It's actually true. Yeah.
So there, and you let the lawyers handle it, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, this sort of, what was it? The Rock and Sock Connection? Is that what he was in for a while, years ago as a wrestler?
Yes.
But yeah, now it's the
Rock and Cock?
I would say the Rock and Block Connection. I mean, he's blocking you guys. No, I mean,
we're getting rock blocked.
Yeah, you're getting rock blocked. I mean, this is artistic freedom. The Rock is getting in the way. This is a guy who's always talking about, once upon a time I was making 20 cents, whatever his company's name is, $3 or something. It's a fucking cheat day at 97 donuts today.
Yep.
He's two scrappy guys trying to break down box office, and he's rock blocking you guys.
Yeah.
You can't let that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the Rock 30 years ago. That's what the BO boys are now.
Right.
And instead of putting the hand out, lifting us up, he's trying to kick us back down because he doesn't want to lose his spot.
Yeah. He smells. Yeah. He smells what you're cooking. He knows what's coming.
I mean, what do you have advice? We're in the fight of our lives right now.
Yeah.
The Rock and Peacock are trying to stop the BO boys on YouTube before we can monetize, before we could, become giants in the industry. And you've been there. You've had people trying to censor you.
Question.
So what advice do you have? I mean, obviously we got to fight. We know that.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I think you have to be as vocal as you can. I don't think you can let loud voices silence you. That's what they're going to try and do. He's going to try and intimidate you. He's a muscular guy. He's a famous guy. He's a big star. You got to look at him as your equal. You guys are equal. You're both human beings, the three of you. And you have to go into that and to looking at that way. Don't acquiesce to him. I mean, let's be honest. The movies have been shit the last couple of years anyway. Yep. So just say, listen, I'm equal. I will say this. Okay. Let's look at your production and what you've done the last couple of years versus the production of what he's done. What's been better, the BO boys in 2023 or fucking Dwayne Johnson's box office? I mean, what are we doing here?
Right. Yeah. Right.
We need a competition.
Right.
Compare. Come on with you guys. I don't even get it.
Compare Black Adam to what we did in July, where I was traveling around the world. I was in different cities every episode. Clayton was holding it down. He was broadcasting from deep in the dirt.
Thelma and Louise.
And we pulled those productions off. Meanwhile, The Rock's last movie was Black Adam.
Right, that's it. He was trying to tell me it's the most profitable movie ever made. Just lying to his people right now. It's sad. It's sad to see.
Right. And you know what? The Rock, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but in the last year, Kirk Minihane didn't reach out to The Rock and say, hey, guys, big fan, love to work with you. That didn't happen.
No, definitely. No, definitely did not. No. If you said to me right now, you could be in The Rock's next movie.
Yeah.
Or you can actually be a BO boy. This is not even a conversation. It's not even, and that would never, by the way, don't miss, I would never ask that. That's rude.
Right.
I shouldn't do that. I apologize for even bringing up the scenario.
We know it's,
Let's just say you were on a bike in France and you broke your neck or something. You died, God forbid. Or one of those old ladies, thought you were attacking and sprayed you and you died or something.
Right.
I would step in if asked, but I would never, if The Rock, never, not in the fucking, I would never be in Black Adam 2 or whatever, Jumanji 7. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But point is, long story, you guys are equals. At best for him, you guys are equals. That's what I would say.
At best. Yeah. Well, right now we're sort of at that point where he's going down, we're going up, we're connecting. That is going to last like maybe 2 or 3 more episodes of our show. And then by that point, we're past him. Yeah, totally.
He's shaking the ladder when we're trying to climb up and he's going down. It's like, that's rude. That's rude. Do you think we would help him if he wasn't trying to shake the ladder?
No question. Do you guys think in today's market, that because it was kind of one of the last successful comedy teams. If there was a Rock Kevin Hart movie out like 2 weeks from now and it looked kind of funny, would people go see it like in today's, or is it just, does it feel like that's a streaming movie?
I was going to say that's a great question.
If it's not Jumanji, I'm saying if it's Jumanji, it's different. It's a franchise. If it's just they did what was it like
Central Intelligence?
Yeah, the CIA, right? Like if they made a movie like that where whatever The Rock was getting married to Kevin Hart's like sister or something, some stupid, would that make 35 million opening weekend, or would it make like 12?
Definitely not.
8 million, like 14 million, or
I do think Kevin Hart too has hurt his brand by doing so many streaming movies the last 4 or 5 years that basically people look at Kevin Hart as a guy who does streaming movies, commercials, and cameos in like Ryan Reynolds movies. They don't look at him as a guy anymore, and he was a movie star. And I think now if people saw a commercial for something with The Rock and Kevin Hart, they would assume it's on streaming.
That's the big one. That it didn't even have to go to streaming for people to think it's going to be streaming. So by the time it actually is streaming, they're like, oh, there was that thing.
Right.
Because, Kevin Hart has relegated himself, and The Rock, he's doing an Amazon. What is this Red? The other Red movie he's doing,
not Red Scare. That's
Red
something
Notice?
else.
Yeah, he's doing for Amazon. Where
he did Red Notice, the Red One. This is The Rock is doing the Red One,
right.
Which he doesn't call a movie. He calls it a franchisable.
Already,
he calls it an immediate franchise because it starts as merch, Amazon content, and then there was some other vertical to it, but he will not call this a movie. He won't even call his movies anymore.
Now, isn't it just a catalog for Amazon products? Did you tell me this, Pat, that you're going to be able to order from Amazon while watching this movie?
Oh, that's this movie, right? Yeah, I read about this.
Yeah. So that is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's in catalogs now. He's in video catalogs.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a woman who's in a Kmart catalog, like that's what The Rock is now. And because his next movie, the whole idea is he's Santa Claus or someone in a Santa Claus, and you could buy the things in Santa Claus sack. That's what I've gleaned from different articles about this movie. I mean, does that seem appealing to you at all, Kirk?
No, but final piece of advice on this thing is, you guys are being overly cynical about this Rock movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't spike the ball. Like, be sort of magnanimous about it.
Okay.
That's sort of be like, there's a chance it could work, but down deep, it's going to bomb, so you can shit on them.
Yeah,
but
that's a professional way to do it.
That's the way I would do with an enemy at first. I'd be like, look, maybe they have a point. We'll read it. We'll see what it looks like. I just don't think it's going to be great, but what do I know? Okay. And then it's going to be bad. So then you can, when you spike the ball, eventually people will be like, oh, you know what? A couple months ago, they had an open mind about this. Boy, they really handled that well.
I love it. But I mean, this is Sermon from the Mount.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm here for. Yeah.
Teachings from the Book of Kirk.
Yes. So on Strays, wrapping up just on that movie. I mean, do any of us think that this has anywhere up to go? I mean, this is a terrible opening weekend, 8.3. I feel like this is going to fall off a cliff, and probably not. Honestly, I don't think this gets to 20 million. When all said and done, I think this movie is going to wrap up in the teens. Is there any hope for this to take off?
I think zero. I mean, people know it's a stinker now because of how bad it did. There's no urge to see this. Kids are back in school, so they're going to be moving on to other stuff.
Right.
And this is going to be dropping on the cock in 17 days, probably.
Yeah.
So before you know it, it's going to be there.
Yeah, probably like 2.8 million, 3 million or something next weekend. So no way it's not going to get to 20 million. I mean, I know these, animated movies sometimes have, but this is not that kind of movie where it's going to have legs, where kids are going to go see it 3 times, or mom's going to drag no chance. No.
This is not Elemental. I mean, Elemental is one of the stories of the summer, had a great leggy run, but Strays is not going to be that. Though I will say there was maybe a 6 or 7 year old who was brought into the theater that I was in today, and his parents did not leave with him, so he watched this entire movie. That listen, is it a spoiler to say that a dick gets eaten in this movie? So this kid saw that.
Oh, it did happen. Okay, yeah, that was a line that Harry loved so much in the trailer. So yeah, okay. There you go.
I mean, let Harry know they do deliver it. So if that was intriguing to him, he will see it. And I got to say, Will Forte gives one of the most, and we're not critics, one of the most egoless performances I've ever seen in a movie, where he is a pure villain, disgusting person the entire time, no redeeming qualities, does try to kill dogs at the end, and gets dick bit off. It's one of the I've never seen a performance in a big screen movie where someone is just that awful and demeaned the entire time. So kudos to him. It's a shame that this will not make him into a Jim Carrey type actor,
Right.
though.
Well, that tied to my final thought on movie comedies, because I was thinking of this as well with these guys, is every 5 or 6 years, even more frequently than that when I was in high school and on, you would have an SNL sketch or an SNL breakout star. And that now that show is essentially, dead. I mean, in terms of having huge stars, that pipeline has gone too in movie comedies where, Farley, Sandler, Myers, Wayne's World itself, every Farrell, even Tina Fey, every couple of years, that hasn't happened in forever. So that's, I think, part of it too. I think it's another reason why these things are sort of slowly, not a huge factor, but I think part of it.
Yeah. I mean, Clayton, you and I, we actually went to see a comedy show in New York the other day. We saw an SNL current cast member, Sarah Sherman, who's, sort of the breakout star on the current cast. Saw her do her live show. It was great. It was, it was disgusting. It was great. And she's someone who, of course, as soon as me and Clayton experience anything in life, the first thing we do is talk box office. And we talked about how someone like her, there is no, now she's going to get a movie.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is she could walk down the street and probably not get recognized that much. Like in wherever, Oklahoma City or something, or Boise, where Will Ferrell was super famous. Mike Myers was Chevy Chase was insanely famous. So yeah, you're right. Like she's really funny, and she'll wind up on some show on streaming and it'll get good reviews, and that'll be it.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to have your Wayne's World or your Ladies Man type movies anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with what happened with SNL is that it gums up the works, right? Because what's supposed to happen is you start there, you get some buzz, or you fail, you disappear, or you find another avenue, or you go into movies. And then that goes for as long as it can go. And like you said, that stopped happening. I mean, Kristen Wiig had a good career. Sudeikis had a really good career going as a big screen comedy guy. And Andy Samberg never really could get it together to really be the big screen guy, although the movies that he made were really funny, him and The Lonely Island. But then this cast that was just previous, they all were Kate McKinnon, Cicely Strong. They never were able to have any sort of movie success because comedy films started not being what people wanted to see. And now they're, like you said, relegated to streaming. And, Kate McKinnon's in Barbie, but if she wasn't in that, she would be out of the cultural conversation completely.
So, yeah, that is the state of comedy, but the state of superheroes could be worse right now. Let's move on to the number one movie of the week, but I mean, this is as soft as a number one gets right now. Blue Beetle, the new DC movie, made $25 million. So let's go to you, Kirk. And Harry Minihane had no interest in Strays. Did he have any interest or awareness that DC's Blue Beetle was coming out?
No, I even said this last time. Like and I forget which guest mentioned this. Maybe it was last week. He last year wrote a paper. It was I forget. It was an argument paper, persuasive paper. And his point was that why Marvel movies are better than DC movies. Like immediately he says, "Oh, it's a DC movie. I don't want to see it." Like he has this huge, as an 11-year-old, and his buddies have this huge bias against DC movies. So he was out, and I don't even think he knew what it was. Like we talked about it for a little bit, and he said, "I don't even know who that is. I haven't seen anything about that. No one's talking about it. Nobody's doing his guy. I forget his guy. He has some film theory guy. He's crazy. He's not doing a reaction video on YouTube right away. Not doing any of that stuff." And this movie, what was it, Clayton? What was the final total?
25. Yeah, it was 25.4, which, it could go lower on Monday too. I
Oh,
mean, that's one of those things where
Jesus.
if it has a super soft Sunday, we could be looking at, 24 or something like that.
it dropped from Friday to Saturday, which is not what you want to see. Saturday is usually supposed to be the peak of the weekend go up, and instead it dropped. So it doesn't seem like from reviews is a bad movie. I don't think the word of mouth is bad as much as it's just not there.
Right. I think Barbie beat it on Sunday, right? Or it was close on Saturday and Sunday, I think. I think it had a big Friday edge, but Barbie had already, Barbie will blow it away next weekend. Like it's just, people are just going to check. I mean, I know the reviews are pretty good, but who's going to see this next weekend?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I mean, that's the thing that damned this is that it was front loaded. And the only hope for this film was that it was not treated like a superhero movie where it was heavily front loaded, where it was treated as a regular film where people just went because it had factors that they wanted to see. So like the gentleman from Cobra Kai, they liked the fact that it was Hispanic and Latino leaning, which they were 39% of the audience. So that was the hope. But what it turned out to be is hardcore DC people who are getting through it. That's what David Thompson, the gentleman that was on talking about superheroes, he was saying that where this was his medicine. He was going to see Blue Beetle, taking his medicine. He's going to go to Aquaman, take his medicine, and then wait for Superman. That's the thought that Blue Beetle was putting in people's heads. The general audience, other than Hispanic and Latinos, rejected this film soundly.
Yeah, I mean, God, that is damning right there, is to think of a movie as something you have to get through. Like Kirk, think of all the things you have to get through in your life. You've got to commute. Right. You've got to deal with your staff. You're, sometimes bumbling, and thank you for the staff that's helping produce Kirk's on this podcast. God bless. But bumblers, right?
Yes, idiots, yeah.
You've got to get through that. Do you ever want to look at a movie as something you have to get through?
No, and like I said, I know the reviews are pretty good, and it seems like a nice little family movie. But you guys are talking about this. The sort of the state of the whole Marvel and DC stuff right now is like I don't know what the next sure thing is. I have no idea. I mean,
Deadpool 3 maybe.
Oh yeah, that's true.
As close to it.
Yeah, that'll do well. Yeah.
But it depends on when it comes out because we've mentioned that Deadpool could probably get churned out pretty fast because he's in a mask. Ryan Reynolds could have jumped around and then they could have looped stuff. But now we got this SAG strike, so he can't even jump around and wait for funny jokes to be looped over the mask. I mean, that's really going to set that back. But that is the closest to a superhero sure thing that we have that's on the calendar.
Do you think?
Other than, I think maybe Joker 2, but I don't look at that as a superhero movie. But I think that's a slam dunk.
Do you think DC would be smart and have Caviezel's character from Sound of Freedom become like a DC superhero and maybe boosting that up a little bit? I could see that as a crossover. Get those people in. I mean, you're literally buying tickets and not even going to see the movies. DC doesn't care.
Yeah,
you bring Caviezel's guy. I don't know if you put a mask on him or not, but you do something. You give him some sort of superpower, like he can be religious or something.
So here's the pitch, Kirk, and see if you like this.
Go ahead.
So in his next mission, because his mission is to stop child trafficking, which is a great mission.
Sure.
He saves some kids, et cetera, et cetera. Finds a meteor. A meteor has fallen.
Yeah.
And he goes to the sea. He's like,
I like this.
Are the kids in danger? I must see what this is. Goes over. Meteor gives him superpowers. Can fly. He's basically Superman.
Yeah.
But, you don't call him Superman. He's got the similar sort of powers. And he goes and frees the kids.
I thought you were going to say, I like that. I thought you were going to say the meteor comes down and it is Superman, like in the movie. And he's actually Pa Kent, but Lex Luthor is trying to sex traffic baby Superman.
That's even better.
Caviezel has to stop that from happening. Sound of Freedom meets Superman. Sound of Superman? I don't know what it is. I'm just spitballing here, but combine those two, and then you might be off to the races.
Yeah, because is there a better advertisement for stopping child trafficking if you think, hey, one of these kids might grow up to be Superman someday?
Yes.
And is there a better, let's be honest about this, is there a better pitch for the sex trafficker himself than, hey, get a look at what this kid can do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's Superman here.
Right.
That is the gold standard.
The money that these traffickers could make off of baby Kryptonians.
Oh my God, it'd be unbelievable. So I think that'd be their move because right now, like, I mean, I know the Brie Larson sequel's coming out. I know Deadpool's coming out. I know, but I couldn't tell you between now and Superman. I have no goddamn idea what they have coming out. No clue at all. I don't even know.
Yeah, Man of Freedom. I mean, that's
2025, right? The Superman one, not Man of Freedom. That's a different one. But Superman's 2025. Is that right? As of right now,
it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I mean, they could churn out the Sound of Freedom, Man of Freedom a lot quicker than that. They could really get the jump on James Gunn and his Superman,
right,
with the Jim Caviezel Superman. I mean, and the fan bases are similar because, I mean, so much of the Sound of Freedom success was, like you said, people buying tickets to support the brand. And, you know, that brand was anti-sex trafficking, whatever the brand was there. DC and comic book fans are the same way. If you could convince them that, hey, buy these tickets for someone to show your support for the brand over Marvel, they'd be into that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, I think they should figure out ways to put Caviezel in all these movies. Like, he can maybe solve the Rachel Ziegler problem somehow in Snow White. Maybe he can get that bad at it. Who knows? I have no idea. All I know is Jim Caviezel right now in a Traffic movie is IP, baby. Like, Sound of Freedom 2 is going to happen, right? I mean,
100%.
Yeah, it has to happen.
I think the Snow White thing is he stops the dwarfs from being trafficked.
Yeah,
because it's close enough.
Right.
They're very, it's close enough to children.
Right. I could see that.
Right. You take Snow White's wig off, and it was Caviezel's FBI agent or what. And I guess he's not in the FBI. He's a man he's on his own, but he
doesn't answer anybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he's posing as Snow White to get these dwarves out of these like sex dungeons.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are, I mean, the Sound of Freedom thing did happen since last we spoke. When we talked in June, this couldn't have been, this was not on our radar. It wasn't until wannabe oh boy Adam from the Stacks alerted us a few weeks before it came out that this was happening. We did not. Could you imagine that we were sitting there in June, the three of us, talking about No Hard Feelings? We had no idea that the Sound of Freedom thing was on the way.
Mm-hmm. No clue. None. And it made more than Indiana Jones. I still think it made more than, I know Mission Impossible is ahead of it this weekend. It's got too big of a lead. It's gonna make more than Mission Impossible in America.
Yeah.
I don't know what story is crazier. I don't know if Barbenheimer is crazier or Sound of Freedom is crazier. I don't know. I actually think it's probably Sound of Freedom. It's gonna make like $185 million in America. It's a fucking Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
$185 million. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's that's crazier because as big as Barbie was over expectations, it was a giant movie that we all knew was coming. People did not know Sound of Freedom existed when you were here in the middle of June.
No.
And then a month later, that's the biggest movie in the country.
No, if that had just shown up on demand, like out of nowhere, never in the theater, you'd be like, oh, it's like another movie with Jim. Okay, yeah. Instead, it's sort of got this crest and just rode it and like didn't. And I don't know I don't know what the truth is. I don't know if they're empty theaters. I don't know if they're full. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is it's another example of like people feeling like they've been ignored fairly or unfairly and answering it. And like, if I'm a movie theater owner or a studio head, at some point you have to say there is money, like horror movies, there is money to be made here. How do we do it?
Right.
Like, I know they may not agree with them politically. That's fine. Who really cares in 2023 when you're trying to keep theaters alive? It's about making money.
Yes.
So if you release 2 or 3 of those a year, relatively low budget, one of them makes $40 million, then you've done well.
Right.
And Kirk, I think that's a great point. And I think we here at the BO Boys are agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about money. We don't talk about politics, things like that. Those things are put on us, but what we really look at is how much did a movie make? And when you're looking at something like Sound of Freedom, you can't deny that it was a crazy success, no matter how it happened, no matter if people showed up or not. We're not saying they did or they didn't, but we are saying that was such a huge paradigm shift and awesome scam. And we say scam with love.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
we love a scam.
We love a scam.
Oh, it's a great move. Yeah.
3D is a scam. Those things aren't in the room with you. It's a scam, right? That we love scams. So Sound of Freedom pulled a great scam, and the theater owners are benefiting. So if a theater owner can benefit, then we're happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that sequel's got to come. I mean, the Blue Beetle. I mean, the Sound of Freedom sequel is way more likely than a Blue Beetle sequel after this opening weekend.
Well, just to give you guys a little bit of hard numbers.
Okay, great.
So Blue Beetle is the lowest opening weekend for any DCEU film, except for Wonder Woman 1984, which we all know came out December 25th, 2020.
Right.
It made less than The Suicide Squad, which opened at 26, and it made less than Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which made 30. So this is terrible. And also, the budget wasn't gigantic, but it also was over $100 million. So this is not a successful film by any stretch.
I'm going to ask you guys this because you mentioned Shazam there, Clayton. You mentioned Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods opened bigger than Blue Beetle. And Kirk, before you were giving us great advice that we should be humble when we talk about vanquishing our competitors. Absolutely. You know, and in terms of The Rock, we're going to be humble. We're going to go to Red One with an open mind. That way we could say we told you so after a
pretend to have an open mind, right?
Yep. Yeah. Right. We're going to, I mean, I love, and I love the way you do the, who knows? Who am I? You know, that's
right. You got to do that. Yeah.
That's
shrug your shoulders. Yeah.
The shoulder shrug is huge. Yeah. I'm going to be studying this clip over and over again to nail that shoulder shrug. And do you think, because Zachary Levi, the star of Shazam, he went, you know, he was on a bender after Shazam bombed. He was trying to tell people that they were wrong for not going, all that. Do we think we're going to get a Zachary Levi post about how Blue Beetle didn't beat Shazam's opening weekend? Do we think he's going to take the Kirk Minihane advice of trying to be humble, or are we expecting a Zachary Levi shitting on Blue Beetle post coming up?
I don't think so. See, I mean, he seems like he's been, like you said, he's been pretty talkative lately. He played Kurt Warner, right, in that terrible movie.
He did, yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, that'd be a very weird victory lap to take. I mean, maybe, but it's. I mean, Blue Beetle is not going to make 60. It's not going to make 70 million. It won't make 70 million.
Oh, no way.
60,
I don't think
maybe?
so.
So the thing is,
it won't make 60 because next week it'll make what, 12?
It'll make like 12 or 15. I mean, I will say the great Scott Mendelson,
kids, I guess, but
so the great Scott Mendelson, who brought us all together, Kirk.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
He did tweet out today that there is a chance, because there's not any family films coming out for the next few months, that this movie, this Blue Beetle, could have a leggy run by default by being, the next couple of weeks you've got Equalizer 3, you got The Nun, you've got October is basically all horror movies coming out. So you've got some runway where if the families do catch on to this movie, it could have a leggy run. But I think even in that scenario, it does maybe 3 times its opening weekend. So like 75 million feels like the
a lot
high end here, but it could be as low as not hitting 60. That's definitely on the table.
So here, let's have a little over under here.
Okay.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods ended up with $57.6 million. Do we think Blue Beetle, which opened $5 million less, makes over or under that in its whole run?
Huh.
I mean, I'll take the under.
I'm going to go under. I actually think next weekend is going to be bad for it. Like, I think I think it's going to be like a near 60% drop next weekend.
Yeah.
Wow. Talking whatever that is, 11. Then it's going to make another 20 million. I get what Scott Mendelson's saying, but who's going to see it 3 weeks from now? I don't think kids are not going to see it like they saw Elemental. No, I think it's going to make I'll say 54, 55.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the Deadline wrap up, they did mention that kids have been going back to school, which, man, that feels early.
Right.
Being a kid is terrible. I'd much rather be an adult podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
But they're already going back to school, and Elemental had that run because kids were home all day and parents were trying to get them out of the house. But
Definitely.
if kids are back in school, no one's going to see Blue Beetle on a Tuesday afternoon in a week. Yeah, so I guess maybe the under. That's a rough spot. If Blue Beetle is topping out at 56, 57 million, then that's a real bad spot. And I mean, it really is. There's no sure thing slam doing superhero movies coming up anytime in the next year. So it's a bad spot. So those are the two big ones. Before we wrap this up, we talked about Sound of Freedom. I do want to get your thoughts, Kirk, on what happened with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This movie's, it's at 164 domestic. It's obviously not a bomb, but it did underperform. Did you see this film, and what do you think contributed to why it didn't? People thought this might have ended up being the biggest movie of the summer. Back in May, this was one of the predictions to be get the Maverick bump, make $1 billion, and that didn't happen. What do you think happened here, Kirk?
Barbieheimer, that's it. Like literally, that wiped it off the face of the earth. Because everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about, here comes Cruise again. He's going to save movies. We're doing this again. He's doing all these things. He did that thing with James Corden where they did whatever they did, Cats or something. I forget what they did. They did some Broadway thing. And Cruise is great again. I think a couple of things. Number one, I didn't fall for this one. There were a lot of people who thought that the Top Gun Maverick crowd was just going to necessarily roll into the Mission Impossible crowd. I never really believed that. Mission Impossible was never an insane franchise. So that didn't happen. And then, I mean, it was like the next week, right? Was it 2 weeks or was it the next week?
It was the next week. It only had one weekend.
And to your point, I think one of you guys said this a few weeks ago, a month before, Barbie and Oppenheimer were like looking at like $45 million and $18 million opening weekend. Something just happened. It just became, which was awesome. Those two movies became the center of cultural conversation. And it kind of still is. And it just blew Mission Impossible out of the water. Mission Impossible was really well reviewed. I liked it. I thought it was a lot of exposition, like a lot of explaining going on. I saw it in the United States of America. I don't know about you, but I mean,
that might have been the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it with a great American movie star in the American movie theater. I was surrounded by Americans.
It's supposed to be seen.
Right.
Yeah.
They served me soft cheeses when I saw it.
Oh, was that right? You know what I had? I had freedom fries.
Wow.
So I had a double helping of freedom fries, and some beer. But
Clayton had a bucket of rocks.
Well, I did have some tobacco spit to
you have to
down with.
You got to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. Like, it's not like this one. If those two movies didn't ever get released or released next year, this movie probably would have actually made another $100 million domestic. But, I mean, like literally, I think it's that much. I think people just went to see, especially the IMAX stuff. Everyone went to see Oppenheimer and IMAX, and it just blew Mission Impossible, and it just never came back. Whereas like Indiana Jones, I thought was just, which I saw was just kind of there. Like it was kind of lifeless. Mission Impossible, I thought was good. Like I don't think it was great. I don't know how much of it was part one sort of element of that. I don't know. I don't know if some people were like, well, screw it, I'll wait and watch it and see part two. And I don't know that. But I do think it really came down to the next weekend, those two movies coming out.
But there also was, and I know this is a very Sound of Freedom heavy episode, but that also
you're right.
Like the Maverick people went to see that instead of seeing Mission Impossible. Not everybody, but I think there was a contingent of people who had saw Maverick in the theater, first movie since a long time, even probably not even COVID related, just they don't go see movies. And then this movie came out and they saw Sound of Freedom, and they're not Tom Cruise fans. They're Top Gun fans.
Right.
And they're those sort of the military America sort of fans. And that's great that they had another movie that served them. And I don't think Mission Impossible serves that same sort of demo.
Right. No, I think that's right too. I do think that's sort of that middle America crowd, that Iowa crowd. You guys don't understand this. I'm sort of, I'm an everyman.
Yeah.
I travel these. I'm like Charles Kuralt. I'll go across America and talk to people. You guys are, which I respect. You're coastal elites. You're not going to get your hands dirty. You're not going to Omaha.
No.
Guys are, they're doing that. So
I go the other direction on the globe, Kirk.
yeah, correct. Yeah, you're over the ocean and the Champs-Élysées and that whole. I can respect that.
Yeah,
but no, I think that's a good point. And I don't know, I don't know how part 2 is going to do, but it does feel like, but I actually somebody called. We take calls on the show. I took a call tonight. Someone was asking about the movies this summer, and like you're tempted to say that because of Fast X and because of the Flash and because of Indiana Jones, that they're going to move away from these big giant things. But then Barbie makes a fortune and Guardians makes a fortune, and they're just going to keep doing it again. They're not going to learn any lessons from these movies bombing. That's for sure.
right. Yeah, and whatever they learn will be the wrong ones because it's now you're going to have 20 new Mattel movies.
Right. Yeah.
The lesson really was let a Greta Gerwig type person make their movie as opposed to make the Stretch Armstrong movie now.
Right, with some hack director and it'll make no money and they won't understand why. No,
right.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right. So before we go, Kirk, is there anything you're excited for in the next few weeks? I mean, looking at some trailers I saw, there was an Equalizer 3 is coming out.
Nope, not feeling that. I'm the world's biggest Stallone fan. I will see the Expendables in the theater. I have to do that.
That almost feels like your obligation. That feels like the way David Thompson said he just had to get it over and see Blue Beetle. Yep. Do you feel like you have to get it over with and see Expendables 4? Yeah,
I was the one guy in the theater who during Creed 3 was like sort of expecting Stallone to just show up. It didn't happen. But yeah, the other Harry Minihane movie is because this is like, I guess this has some life on YouTube. His buddies are talking about this Five Nights at Freddy's. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yes. Yeah. So although that's day and date on Peacock as well.
Correct. Yeah. But there's some talk about that meaning something to those guys. I don't know what that means. So you're right. They'll probably just watch it on Peacock. Is there a legacy? I know there's no Halloween this year. Is there is that Terrible Exorcist one, right?
That was the other trailer I saw before Strays. That is the David Gordon Green Exorcist, which it's to me not, having a Halloween movie where the big hook is, hey, Mike Myers is back, isn't quite the same as, hey, Ellen Burstyn is back.
It doesn't quite excite the audience as much. No. Yeah, no. So not really. I mean, Scorsese comes out in October, right?
That's the big one. Is you got Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon.
I'll see that in the theater. I will go see that in the theater. I feel like I have to do that for sure. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great trailer. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's just a weird. I don't think I'll be taking part in Saw Patrol. I don't think I'll be doing that.
Okay.
I don't think. I don't know that yet. But I don't think I'll be doing that.
I mean, you got to get Harry Minihane. Obviously, he's way past the part of it, but
Saw he do, yeah.
So you might end up seeing it as I don't think Saw Patrol is going to be Barbenheimer as much as they're trying to make it that.
It's not organic. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, but you know what? You never know. We were sitting here in June. We didn't know what was coming our way in July with Sound of Freedom with Barbenheimer. So here we sit in August, and we'll get back together soon, and we'll say, man, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. I think where you guys were in 2020, doing these shows, having these directors on, and now you could definitely make the case. There will be books written. This might be the wildest box office summer of all time. Like between the bombs, between Barbenheimer, between Sound of Freedom. Like, I think this is, I can't, I'm trying to think of the last time a box office summer was this. I can't think of it. And I, like you guys, pay attention to stuff all the time.
Yeah. No, this feels seismic the way, that Batman 89 summer did, the way the Iron Man summer did in its day. This feels like a summer that, books will be written about it. We'll probably write the book.
And one of the ones I feel like summer 98, I feel like was Saving Private Ryan, Godzilla Bomb, something about Mary. Like every 15, this is definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sea change a coming, and we're on the crest of it.
Yes.
Now,
it's no coincidence that you guys are, I mean, believe me, it's no coincidence. You guys are a factor.
Right.
Of course. Now, this Expendables 4, September 22nd. Now, Megan Fox is pivoted to action film. She is in this movie.
Correct.
Kirk, any chance that week she gets Babe of the Week? Is that possible that Megan Fox, at this late of a date, gets Babe of the Week?
late of a date in her life. You're saying?
Yeah, a date in her life. Yeah.
No, I think we welcome all. We certainly welcome all. Even if they're seasoned, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, we could throw her in the mix. I have no problem with that. I mean, I'm sure she'll look great in that.
Yeah.
I am absolutely convinced it's going to be a terrible film. Don't get me wrong. I'm not really sure why this movie's happening, but I will be there. Yeah. Oh, I could nominate Megan Fox. Sure, no problem. Maybe get her on the show. Who knows?
But that'd be great. But you know what? With Expendables 4, who am I? What do I know?
Yeah, I mean, right. It could get the right, who the hell knows? It could get the right friggin' TikTok video, and then they'll make like 50 million opening weekend.
Yep.
There you go. So, Kirk, what is coming up on the Kirk Minihane show? I know you took a little vacation after the big live show, but now you're back. You're going through resumes for a new stunt boy on the show, whatever the open position is. So what is coming up on the Kirk Minihane show? Let all of our new listeners know what to expect.
Well, not just that. I mean, now the producer itself that job will be open now. We've got a lot. We're gonna have an interesting fall. We're got a new producer. We have a new associate producer. A time of change right now as the fall begins on the Kirk Minihane show. And I'm resistant historically to change. I kind of like a system. I kind of like a setup. So, we'll do it live. We'll fuck it. We'll do it live.
Great.
And you'll see the producers come in here. It'll be a whole process. Nothing will be behind the scenes. We're going to have it all there. The Minifans will be weighing in on social media. It'll be a war, and whoever gets selected, I'm sure will be a disaster. And so it goes, and so it goes. So yeah, that'll be the story.
And that disaster is going to be great for radio. It's going to be great for the next ratings book.
Yes, yeah. So I don't know. I'm just at this point, I would like to have some calm, but there's just you guys know, like there's always a new enemy. There's always a new story. There's always something new that annoys you. So it'll never end, I suspect. And I just signed a new deal with Barstool, so I'm going to be here for 4 more years through 2027 into my 50s. So
congratulations.
That is
so many summer movie seasons to cover on Barstool.
That is true. You're exactly right.
And you guys now you have a new ownership, which is the old ownership.
My friend
and
Dave
so
Portnoy.
do you feel like you're freer than ever? Like I know Barstool was previously owned by what? Penn Gambling.
And actually, yeah. They really left me alone, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, Dave Portnoy bought the company back, and I've known Dave forever. He hired me. So yeah, I mean, I think I will say the company itself seems reinvigorated. They really did leave me alone, and I got in some real trouble and said a lot of dumb things, and they never really bothered me. But yeah, I'm happy for Dave, and I'm happy for the company. But yeah, there's sort of this, everyone feels sort of reinvigorated, which is nice. You need that. And I think the company needed that. So I think it's a good thing.
That's great. So then Penn never interfered, never like said, hey, this is who we want as baby of the week this week. You didn't get that kind of.
Not to my knowledge. No. I don't think there was ever any pushback on that. But no, they I think they pretty much left it. And I don't know who the reigning. I've been on vacation. I don't know who the babe is right now. I don't know who the babe is right now in the world. I have no idea. I'm an old man. Is it Sydney Sweeney? Is it Florence Pugh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge had her run in June and July, but I think she's unfortunately been replaced.
She was terrific. She was what a performance in that film.
Yeah. So Kirk Minihane show, there's going to be a lot of chaos coming up, and we're going to love it. We're going to see live job interviews. That's
usual.
Yeah. So, of course, here at the BO Boys, email us at theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at the BO Boys Pod. Wannabe intern Christopher doing a great job with the vertical videos. Kirk, how is that part of the show going? Do you have someone who's making vertical videos for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am not great at it. I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but people react to it now on social media. I was coming back. I did a thing in Barcelona, Illinois. I was flying back, and I listened to the episode Chris was on a few weeks ago, right? Maybe a month ago. I thought he was very good. I thought he did a good job.
I mean, listen, we always say he gives us hope for the future of America. When we talk to a good kid like that, who's making good vertical videos like that, that's what you want out of the youth right now, making those vertical videos. Are
you going to have any of these women on who you watch, talk to with your mom? That would be a good episode. You can have like a couple of the old ladies on or no?
We had a long talk, but then I didn't get their contact info before they
died?
Went to the Red Lobster or wherever they were off to.
Yeah. Still alive though, we think.
I mean, hopefully listening.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, hopefully, yeah, I'm sure they listen to the podcast. Yeah,
yes.
probably.
So old ladies who I met at the Oppenheimer post-show lobby discussion, if you're listening to this, send an email to the theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Come on the show, and then possibly land a spot on the Kirk Minihane show. You know, he might want to talk to you afterwards.
Absolutely.
And 5-star review. Those ladies need to 5-star review.
that.
Have your grandkids show you how to do that.
Yes.
5-star review on iTunes.
So 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. And of course, we are YouTubers. So watch the BO Boys on YouTube and subscribe, and ring that bell. Kirk, you got to remember to tell your audience to ring that bell. That's one of the most important things a podcaster could do.
No question.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Kirk, thank you so much.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. I love to be on.
So Clayton, I think that's it. I think we've done it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything left to say. There possibly can't be anything left to say. Except for, until next time,
we'll smell you at the box office. Nailed it.